Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. P.I.L.L stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. And today, ladies and gentlemen, today, if you've heard about how we can eliminate your debt, how companies can negotiate down your interest rates and get rid of credit card debt, we're going to be talking about those scams today. How in the world are these people still in business when they're saying we can negotiate your debt away, when what they're really doing is ruining your credit? And at most, Flame, at most, I mean, listen, some of them are actually taking people's money and not doing anything. Oh, now, I have to shout out my auntie this morning. Good morning, auntie from California. She's up early. All right. Listen, got to shout out my auntie. Listen, Flame. I want people to know that you're highly respected. You're highly regarded. You are, you've got 2 books out on the subject on credit. You're America's foremost credit expert. Tell the people in your own words who you are and what you're going to bring to them today. Mr. Flame Newton, everybody. And you're muted, Flame.
Definitely, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you just said. Man, for the people that don't know me, my name is Flame Newton. And with that being said, as he stated, I'm the author of the School of Credit series, Learning Master. Also, I'm a humanitarian, right? I like to give back to the people in any way possible, shape, or form. But before we begin, I think it should be up front and it should be understood. My knowledge and expertise in this credit field did not come from your normal activity, basically meaning from, I didn't go to Harvard or Yale, so I do not have any type of financial degrees. I don't, right? So let's get that. I like to put everything on the forefront first because I hate whispering, I hate snickering, I hate behind the text, and I hate all of that stuff, right? So with that being said, one thing about your audiences, Mr. Don, is that your audience can smell things that's not right. So I like to be upfront with people so there is no hidden agendas. I also don't have any type of expertise pertaining to credit where I had bad credit and I fixed my credit up and fixed my family's credit up and became some type of credit guru. I don't have that neither. So let's eliminate those first 2 fields out of the way from initially. I actually came into this game in the back door. So I was a person that was not up to par, right, in American standards. I was a person that came into this game because I was a person that stole identities for a living. So if you ever met an identity thief before, if you never met one, hi. I was a convicted identity thief. And I did so in such a way that sent me to federal prison. Now, with me saying this, all of my expertise is because I've did this before, so I can recognize it and I can see it. And so what you guys are going to get from me, there's 3 things that you're going to get that comes out of my mouth today. Number 1, if I say anything out of my mouth, that means I've did it. Number 2, that means I've done it. Or 3 means I'm currently doing right now. So I can always talk about it from that particular aspect of things. And as well as I like to give you real life examples about stuff that actually that you guys can use in your day-to-day activities in life. Other than that, man, listen, I'm excited to be here today. We got a lot to talk about, man. While we over here today, man, I'm fired up. I don't know about you, but I'm fired up today, baby. I'm fired up. Listen, if I can find out if you fired up like I'm fired up, listen, if you can go to the comment section or even the chat structure, and I need you guys because I'm filled up. I like fire emojis. All I'm asking you to do right now is put that fire emoji in there for me. Put that fire emoji in there. Let's see that fire emoji. Let's erupt this place with fire emoji. I got to see that fire emoji. Let's hit it. Let's hit it. Let's hit it. Let's hit it. Let's hit it.
All right, everybody, you heard him. Put the fire emojis in the comment section over here on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Clubhouse, you will soon, in just a couple of seconds here, the audio will be off. Come on over to YouTube so that you can watch and hear. We're going to keep the room open. We're going to have the link at the top of the page for everybody else who wants to come in to YouTube. And when you get here, please hit subscribe, like the videos, and comment. All right, come on in. All right, Flame, listen, man, listen. Could you do me a favor? And people tell me that I'm pretty much low key, and I need some energy this morning. I need you to fire up the room. Okay, I need you to fire up the room so that we can start talking about this, because right now, it is important for people to know that we are going to be identifying debt relief company scams. And folks, who better to identify a scammer than someone who used to do some of the same stuff? He's going to tell you what to look for. He's going to tell you how to avoid it. He's going to tell you what they're really doing behind the scenes. I talk to so many people who are with these companies, and they're not doing a doggone thing, Flame. So will you fire up the room and tell them what is the very first thing they need to look for when they're thinking about a debt relief company, somebody who's talking about they're going to do a settlement for them? Tell them what's the first thing they need to do after you fire us up.
Oh man, listen, man, I'm telling you this morning. So here's some things that I'm going to talk to you guys about this morning when it comes to this debt settlement stuff, how the guys know how you guys actually can view it, how you can actually see it before it even happened, right? One of the things is that you guys have to ask questions, meaning that if you're the person that is getting ready to go into this, right, you got to ask questions, right? Asking a lot of questions. The moment that anyone feels uncomfortable about answering any questions that you may have, that's what we consider and what we call a red flag. Let's throw it up, red flag, right? That's a moment that you see a red flag. Anytime somebody is looking and they're feeling uncomfortable about your asking the questions, that, my friend, is called a red flag. But first, before we get into all of this, I like to make sure that I like to set a precedent, and I like to make sure that I give rules. Right? There are two rules in credit that you must know. You must know, and then you're going to see an overall effect about how this works for you. There's two rules in this. Listen, there's only two rules that you have to understand, two rules that you got to know. The first rule in all of this credit stuff, in all of it, right? When it comes to your bills, your debt, all of this stuff, the very first thing that you got to know is how much does that debt cost you? Period. You got to know that. That's the first rule. We don't go anywhere because everything comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. You must know, what does that debt cost you, right? And Mr. Don Dane, he talks about it over and over and over again, right? How much does that debt cost you? Because as you know, that you can have a 20-ounce Pepsi. This is a 20-ounce Pepsi, right? And you can change locations of that Pepsi. And what it also do is change the price of that same exact Pepsi. So the same thing that it goes with that $20,000 that you're getting, it would, every time that you move locations with it, it would cost you more money. If I take that Pepsi and put it in the airport, that same Pepsi may cost you $5.99. But if I take that same Pepsi and put it inside of a CVS, it may cost you $1.79. So with that being said, now you're talking about a difference of $4.20 difference between the locations of where you put that Pepsi. It's the same way that works with this money. So when these debt consolidation companies, when they're opposing to you to give you money, you got to understand, how much does that debt cost you? But wait. You got to know rule number 2. This rule right here. I will promise you right now, I will get a whole bunch of thumbs down when you hear this rule. You do not take borrowed money to pay on borrowed money. Oh my goodness. Hold up. Hold up. I don't think they heard that one. You don't take borrowed money to pay on borrowed money. So originally, if you get into a debt consolidation loan, or if you get into a program, right, about debt consolidation, first off, what is debt consolidation? What is these debt relief programs? What are these scams? What are the things that go into them, right? When you start talking about it, the first thing that you got to understand is these are places that will give you a lot of money, right? And they want you to close down certain accounts. And what they're saying that they're going to do, what they're going to do is they're going to negotiate on your behalf.
Uh-oh. This is Flame. We just had a person in the room that wanted to ask a question, and then they went out. We got to get her back. Because so as soon as she comes back, we're going to give her an opportunity to ask her question. So come on back. So Flame, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? They want to negotiate for us. What do you mean they're going to? What's that mean? What has to happen?
So what they do is they pose as a person. They pose as in a manner of like, your attorney or somebody. Hey, you know what? We can talk to the creditors and we can work with them. We have a tight relationship with the creditors. And so what we do is we will go in and what we're going to do is we're going to walk in there in their offices and we're going to call them up and we're going to demand lower interest rates on the things that you've actually already consumed. And we're going to actually demand lower payments. And what you're going to do is you're going to pay us a upfront fee, red flag. You're going to pay us an upfront fee, red flag.
Okay.
And right. What we're going to do is go off and we're going to start negotiating debt on your behalf.
All right, put a pin in that one right there, Flame, because we're going to come back to that. We got Miss Rachel Wilson in the house right now. She's got a question for us. So turn down the volume on your other device, Miss Rachel, and then you come on in here and ask your question, please. You got to unmute your mic. There you go.
I am so sorry. I did not hear anything that you were saying.
That's quite all right. So we got you here. Go ahead and ask your question.
I am so sorry. I look kind of crazy today, but
listen, we appreciate you. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for allowing me because I am in a really debt crisis and I don't really know if you guys can really help. But in 2 weeks, I actually have to go to court on the 15th of March. I'm being sued by my furniture company. I got like this really nice furniture, which I'm okay with paying, but I paid on a debt prior and it did nothing for my credit or it didn't do anything to help me. So now that it's in collection, being in the mortgage syndicate, I was always hearing that we shouldn't really pay our collection. It's like 4 years old. So they're suing me. And I really don't know what to do. I really don't think I need a lawyer. I just know there is some things that I can do to get out of this situation and not have to pay anything. So I just wanted to see if you guys can help me today. It's literally less than like 12 days that I have to like appear. So do you guys have any advice for me?
I got you. First off, what state are you in?
I'm in Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida.
All right. And secondly, you breathe.
Thank you so much because this has been fighting. Oh my gosh, this has been so hard on me. And I've been paying people and it's just, I don't think I'm getting the right help. I really don't know what to do.
Do me a favor because you got to help me out. Okay. The first thing that I need you to do is go inhale, exhale. Let's go. Try one.
Okay. Thank you.
I need that.
Thank you so much.
All right, cool. So first off, what I like to do is I'm not a truth guy, right? Okay. So if you ever meet the person that want to tell you the truth, I'm not that guy. I would never tell you the truth. The only thing that I will do is give you the facts.
Okay.
That's it. I'm only going to give you facts. Facts is something that's already occurred, right? Which means it cannot be altered and cannot be changed, right? So there is no confusion when it comes to in fact. It is what it is because it already happened. That's a prior thing. So let's let that be known first. All right. So now when we go into this thing, let's go into it exactly what you said, and let's break it down in its components, right? One of the first things is that you have to go to court, right? Right. Your court date is within, you said 12 days away. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if your court date is in 12 days away, the very first thing that you got to know above all of this is that you will appear in court.
Okay.
Will appear. You're gonna go into court just like anybody else. You're gonna walk into that courtroom because by you not going to court is an admission of guilt. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to avoid all of this by we going to court, right? Secondly, is pertaining to them, right? What you want to be able to do is that when you walk into the court, right, they're going to be talking about this debt that you may owe, right, or they appear to owe. So let's break down these components, because what you mentioned in the conversation is you mentioned a word called collections, right? There are 3 different types of collections I want you to understand them upright. There's what we call first party, second party, and third party collections. Again, that is first party, second party, and third party collections. Now, first party collections is when that actual creditor is collecting on their own behalf. Right? That particular creditor is collecting on their own behalf. Second party collections is when that actual creditor contracts that debt out to a collector to collect it.
Okay.
And third party collections is when they bundle up their debt and they put it on the open market for other collectors to purchase these. And that's called third party collections. You can bundle it, they get it for pennies on the dollar. So in order to get pennies on the dollar, let's understand how this works. Okay. When it's pennies on the dollar, that means that this thing is what we call a charge off. Charge off means it was over 6 months old.
Okay.
Right? It's over 6 months old, 6 months or more, in order to be a charge off. But what happens with that charge off is that particular lender or that creditor wrote that debt off. So when they wrote that debt off, what they're saying is that they're not responsible for this debt anymore.
Okay.
Right? So there's a guy that I'm going to introduce into this story, right? This guy that I'm going to introduce, let me just give him a name. I like names. One name I'm going to give him, let's call him Sam. I like Sam. Sam's a good name. So let's use Sam. And I like adjectives to describe people. So let's give him an adjective. Let's just call him Uncle Sam, right? So this guy named Uncle Sam, right? Of every dollar that is accumulated in this country, Uncle Sam is going to get a piece of part of it. Uncle Sam gets a piece of every point. So therefore, if that creditor didn't get it, guess who did? Right? That creditor wrote that debt off. Are you with me?
Yes.
So they don't pay Uncle Sam. So who looks like they're going to have to pay Uncle Sam?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to say that you received the 1099-C. That 1099-C is where you wrote that debt off. So now what happens now is they're trying to make you responsible for that debt. What you're going to do is saying that, hey, they're not legally responsible for that debt, because what you're looking for is saying that you're looking for any contract obligation that bears your name of that debt. Any contract that bears your signature of that debt. If it's first party collection, you know what they can actually do? Open the file cabinet and go get your contract.
Okay.
If it's second party collection, guess what they can do? Call that actual company and get that paper of that contract. But what happens?
Can I jump in here, Flame?
Yes, sir.
First thing, when you're contacting them, what does the recording say? What does that recording say when they first talk to you? Any information that you give us, all right? So they're going to use it against you. Don't answer any questions. You're coming with questions. Don't answer any. Okay? You're coming with questions. You're not there to be asked questions, because anything they ask you and you answer, okay, they're trying to get you to say that the debt is yours. Okay. So first of all, remember that. I got that from Flame. Okay.
Wow. So I cannot admit to the debt, right?
Never admit to the debt.
Okay.
You're not admitting to the debt, because is that debt legally and lawfully yours?
No, it's now going to a company called Calvary.
All right.
Like,
did you sign a contract with Calvary?
No. So they have no existing contract. So in the I guess when they served me, they had.
Look at you! Look at you. Keep going.
Thank you. I've been doing my research on this. When they served me, they provided the Synchrony rooms to go contract. So I have been doing my research, but it's been off of YouTube, so I really don't know how well it's going to work. But I have to ask them to provide the actual contract from them with the collection, the new collection company, or I guess the second party collection company. They have to provide a signature that I agree to a contract with my signature present, right?
I don't want you to refer to them as a collection company or a
Okay.
collector or any of that. What I want you to refer to them as the company that is suing you. That is
Okay.
it. So what we're not doing is we're not putting them on any pedestal, saying, hey, where is the contract that I have with you? Right? And they're saying that, hey, we're collecting on behalf of that debt. I understand that. I completely understand that. My question again is, where is the contract that I have with you?
So do I, so 2 weeks ago, actually February 15th was the first court date. I wasn't really prepared. I kind of went with someone and they were telling me to submit this paper and send it to them. They pretty much laughed at the paper, but when I got there, I kind of did what you guys were saying. I really didn't answer any questions. It was kind of really pissing the lady off because she was saying that I was being so secretive, but I was scared to like admit to anything.
Who's the lady that you're talking about? Let's get rules and definitions of this.
Absolutely. So, it was supposed to be a man, but the people who are suing me had a lady representing them. So this literally occurred like 2 weeks ago. I went to court. This lady was so hot-tempered, like she was so aggressive. It was like, oh my, it was so scary. I can't even lie because it was very intimidating, but I didn't want her to see that on my face.
There you go.
Yeah, I was trying so hard to remain calm. I wanted to cry, like, to be honest, but I was like, okay, no. So she was saying I either have 3 options: either to settle with them, and by settling with them, I have to pay an additional $250 on top of the debt. The debt is maybe like 12, 13, and it last time when I was paying it, it was like 800. So they marked it up. They said I would have to pay an additional $250. So they're saying that I have to agree to these terms, 15 like 90, and I have to pay 100 a month. My second option was I take it to trial and they will continue to go after me for the next 20 years, which I didn't believe because I thought credit falls off within 7. So she's like, they're going to go after me for 20 years and they're going to try to garnish my wages. So I just got a really nice job. It's like I'm finally in my profession. I just graduated college and I'm finally like doing what I'm going to school for. So it's like really hard. Like I'm just getting out of the hole. You cannot do that. I'm a single mother. I have a house. And
let's take over right now. What they're trying to do is they're trying to intimidate you. Yeah. Right. And first off, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Now you did a great job by you standing your ground right there. Listen, if you guys are listening right now, because we're having a private conversation on the public platform, what I want you guys to do is put a hand clap emoji inside of the chat, inside of the comment section. Let's get a hand clap emoji for her trying to, because these creditors, what they're trying to do is try to impose their will on top of you, right? They're trying to intimidate you. You notice everything that you told me was everything that was in their favor. They gave you nothing that was actually in your favor. You know what I'm saying? We understand that. Look at you. You see what I'm saying? What happens is everything that was in your favor, right? And then everything that they was trying to talk to you about was like a settlement. Settle this. They're trying to get money out of you, right? But one thing that they didn't do is give you any contract that bears your signature that shows anything that accumulates this. So guess what? You got a right to it. You got a right to stand in front of your accuser, right? Between that, right? You got a right to that. So you did a great job of being able to take this to trial, because now what you want to be able to do is talk to me about 15 USC 1692G, right? Now you want to start to talk to him about saying, hey, I'm looking for any document that bears my signature that goes this, right? Now you start talking to them about a 6802, 15 USC 6802, when you start talking about your right to privacy and these type of things that goes into it as well. So when you start to attack, like what happens is they're trying to do this. I want you to see my fist, right? Can you see my hand? What they're trying to do is do this. They're trying to hang over you like this and keep bashing you. They're trying to play this game called belittling you. What we're going to do is saying, hey, no, we're going to be even. We right here, right? You're not bigger than me. I'm not bigger than you, but you're going to hear me out. And these are the things that I need done, right? So that's what you're saying. You're going to make them come to the forefront and bring everything that they need for you, right? And so now what you want to do is you want to talk about suing them. So these are the things that you want to talk about. You want to be able to start talking about suing them, just like that they could talk about to getting you to pay this and pay that. Now for you coming after me is two things that it must be done. One thing, it has to be 100% accurate and 100% verifiable pertaining to the lender that is actually talking about. They broke that debt off, so they don't have that debt anymore. That debt is not on the original credit. You see what I'm saying? And I started talking about that. That original creditor, that original creditor does not have that debt. Again, that original creditor does not have that debt. It's not on their books anymore. It is not on their books anymore. Let me say it again, ladies and gentlemen. That debt is not on their books anymore. Once they write off that debt, they forfeited. This is what I'm saying. They forfeited any rights, any contracts pertaining to that. So what we're going to do now is saying, hey, you want me to pay off something that's already been compensated from? Then you like this stuff becomes a whole whirlwind of an avalanche of effect when you start to see the snowball how it comes down the field, right? You asking them saying, hey, I'm about to sue you. I'm about to tear you up, right? Matter of fact, now you start to see this stuff gets real deep when it comes to it, right? Don't let them intimidate you. You're going to start to intimidate them, right?
Yes. So I'm taking this to trial because last time I left a word with them, I really didn't know what to say. So I just told them, hey, I'm going to get a lawyer. So they're expecting me in 12 days to appear with a lawyer via webcam. So I'm going to say a lot of this 5092G 68. I'm trying to write this down. 6802 and the right to privacy. Do I let them know I'm suing them?
No, so you don't have to use those. You don't have to use those words, right?
Okay.
I never want you. I apologize. I apologize to my audience. This is what I do all day long. So I just it's like a thing. I just go down. So
Sorry.
You know what I mean? And I definitely apologize to the audience for that particular moment because I never want you to say anything that you cannot explain clearly.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So here's something that's clear. Let's talk about the clarity of this. The clarity of this is they're wanting you to pay for a debt that somebody's already written off.
Okay.
That's clear. In order for you to get here, somebody had to write that debt off. What is also clear is any contract that bears your signature. Any contract that looks like your signature, in order to have a discrepancy between the signature, you know what you also want?
Okay. What do I also
want? Original signature.
Okay. So it has to be the hard contract.
Listen, due to the extreme amount of fraud and scamming that's going on in this country, I will want to see the original contract with the original ink, which I have a right to.
Okay. Because we do have the right to see, and then when they do provide that contract has to be with the person who's suing me and myself in order for them to take this any further. Pretty much is what I'm getting from you today.
Listen how this is going. They wrote that debt off.
Okay. So that debt is no longer existent. So that can come off of my credit, right?
Yeah, well, we the first thing is we fighting two different elements here, right? Okay. We fighting the first element, which is the court, okay. Right? We're fighting that. Let's stay in one box, and then we'll move into the next box, right? Okay. I think that's when the whole thing with this is I don't want to give you so much that you get nothing done.
Okay, yes. I
You get what I'm
completely
saying?
understand.
Because sometimes you get so much, you feel like you're overwhelmed.
Yes.
I don't like doing that. I don't like putting nobody in that position. I like wins. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the next 12 days on this one. Then we'll continue the contact so we can go ahead and work on the credit side and do those things. You got me?
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
So this will be all that I would need to take to them. And do you think that they will have anything that they can say back?
But they're going to say something back, right? That's not that you're not in the game to you're
shut
not
them.
in the game. See what I'm getting out of you is I'm getting out of you trying to protect them. What are they going to say back to me? Would you think they're just, we don't care nothing about what they got going on. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We care nothing about what they got going on. My only concern is myself and the fact that these guys are trying to intimidate me, right? And the fact that these guys, they're trying to hover over me. Here's another place that I want you to go as well,
Okay.
right?
Thank you.
Yeah, there's another place. This is called, I want you to show this. I'm about to share this to you. This is the game right here on the game. It's called CFPB. That is the consumer. I want you to listen to the words.
Okay.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Okay.
Now, their job is to stop and eliminate from creditors that come after consumers with bullying,
Oh, wow.
harassment, like all of these things that hover you and that puts you in that dark space that feels like there's nothing that I can do, that they're just beating me up for this type of stuff. They have, like I said from the beginning, I don't like to tell the truth. I like to tell a fact. The fact of the matter is that there's a place in this country under the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. Underneath the Federal Trade Commission is the CFPB. CFPB is a stumbling block underneath the FTC that they have to follow all rules and governing laws pertaining to this. So their harassment tactics that trying to belittle you and make you feel less than, those are the people that you use to help you as well.
That is a very good approach, because the way I was served, like at my home, like I just walked through the door and the person like came and they did that, and they were asking me a lot of personal questions. I didn't tell them that I was who they were looking for. I didn't want to confirm anything from that point, but it was like, were you guys watching my home all day to see when I would come home to give me these documents?
Yeah, so what that person is, they use what they call a courier service,
Okay.
right? So where something that did occur that should have never occurred with you, but you didn't know, is right, is never accept anything from strangers. We learned that at a very early age. Never accept anything from strangers. So when that courier service was sitting out there for you, hello, I'm such and such, I'm looking for such and such. Listen,
Okay.
we at this house don't accept anything from strangers. But this is something that we got to get in contact with Miss Wilson about. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But we don't accept anything from strangers. If they did not serve you correctly, then you can't. Are you with me? What I'm putting down?
Yes, I can't believe I accepted this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, it's so many loopholes, and it's like, and I hate to even admit to this, but it's like, it's a lot of people that's not educated on these things. Like I just like graduated. Like I have to go back for my bachelor's, but like, where are we supposed to learn this information from? Like this, it's available to us, but it's like, we just don't know this information. So we fall in the trap. Like me accepting this, I heard that's like, I'm acknowledging and I'm accepting the judgment, or it was a whole process.
Wait a second, Flame. She's trying to combine stuff here. Accepting the document does not mean you accept the debt. What's in the document? It's two different things.
They said because I did not communicate or accept any communication attempt is why the judgment occurred. No.
No.
There was a judgment?
It couldn't have been a judgment yet because you're still going through the court case and the proceedings of it. It can't be a judgment at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It can't be a
Don't
judgment.
let them scare you.
Yeah,
Okay.
they try to use tactics, and they do the same thing I do. When I send letters to creditors, you know what I send? You know what I put on my letter? I put 3 last names on the top of a letter. That's what I would do. I put Newton, Daniel, and Wilson on the top of the front letter, right? And send them a letter in, right? You say, well, why would you even do that, right? I just put a letterhead on it. I never said that I was an attorney. At no point in time did I ever said an attorney. But what I did say, this is Newton, Daniel, and Wilson, right?
Okay.
He's not giving you advice. He's just telling you that he
Yeah,
uses the same
but-
scare tactics they're trying to use on you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what they're doing. They're trying to bully you. They're trying to boss you, and we're not going to go for it. And you're not going to go for it. One thing about you is that you listen. Look at you. Look how beautiful you are. You stand up taller than anybody else. Your kids do something. If your family member do something, if somebody else disrespected you, somebody else could put smut on your name. And right now, you would go on any one of these social media engines and say, "If I see her, I'm going to handle her." So the same thing works with these creditors. When I see you, I'm going to handle you. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to play me. You're not going to put nothing against my soul, against my name. I would do it to my cousin. I would do it to my ex-best friend. I would do it to some dude that I was talking to. So the same way that I'm going to do to them, I'm going to do to you. You're not going to play me. See that energy?
Yes, I love that energy. Oh my gosh.
Okay, Rachel. Listen, we have some other people in the studio. We're going to stay in the studio. All right. I'm sure your questions aren't fully answered, but just in case, Flame, just in case she has to leave, how does she get a hold of you so that we can, we're going to definitely put that in the private chat. But tell us how we can get a hold of you.
Meetflame.com or flame@flamenewton.com.
Okay.
One of the two. So definitely.
All right. So we're going to put that. I think we still have those links from before. All right. Meetflame.com or flamenewton.com, correct?
No, flame@flamenewton.com.
Flame@flamenewton.com. Got it. All right. That's your email?
Yes, sir.
All right. Meetflame.com is his digital business card. Meetflame.com. All right. Is a digital business card. And flame@flamenewton.com is the email address. All right. So hang in there with us, Rachel. We're going to come back to you. So we've got Nabia in the studio. So Nabia, let's bring her to the stage. Uh-oh, something's not connected now. We did have her. We got to get her connected back. All right. All right. So, right. Okay. While we're doing that, Flame, while we're trying to get folks connected, let's see here. All right, Rachel. While we're trying to get Nabia in because her devices aren't connected. They were, but they're not now.
I can't make her be connected. So
Okay.
she's not connected.
I'm sorry.
I cannot make her be connected.
No, I know.
Connected.
She has to do that. She has to do
Okay.
that. Yeah, that's we're waiting on her to do it. All right. So, okay. So Rachel, while Nabia is coming back in, she was in there, but she's not now. All right. So Rachel, so what's the next step? So she's got to go. So Rachel, you've got a court date.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Nabia's back. All right. All right. There she is. Nabia,
Sorry about that, guys.
what's going on with your question today?
Okay, so I got a couple of things going on. I don't want to be here long, but Flame, you are on fire. I just wanted to say that. So I went to check my credit recently, and I saw where there was some communication, something on there. I never heard of them, and they said that it was in collections. I was like, I don't have anything in collections. I try to stay on top of my stuff. Anyway, long story short, I did call them. They wanted the account number. I gave them the account number as far as I could see it, and the last 4 were X'd out. And they said, well, we need the last 4. And I said, well, I don't have it. And I've never even heard of you. And so they said, well, give us your social security number. I said, I don't know who you are. You're not getting my Social Security. So anyway, they're trying to say something was in collection. So what I did was I went to my email, all of my emails to check in, put the name. I saw something that came in, but it was from 2012 or 2016. The account was closed because I closed it, meaning I paid it. So now how are you coming back in 2024? So I didn't understand what that was about. So and I'm not giving them my social. And if you can't tell me the last four of and you have my name, then why are we even having this conversation?
All right, let's start from the beginning with this is right.
Okay.
I like dates. Dates are real cool. One of the dates that you mentioned was a date called 2016. Am I correct? To say if I say anything that's not right, I need you to check me on it.
Yeah, they just had on a current. I've never seen this before. So this just got on my credit report and it said, I think it was something communications or whatever. It wasn't familiar to me. The reason why it wasn't familiar to me because it was probably a cable thing I had back in 2016. Like I said, I checked my email, all of them, to see if who was the actual originator of this debt.
So when
And
it comes
so it's closed. I paid it.
when it comes to cable, one of the biggest things that I've seen when it comes to cable, you know what that is?
What?
A remote control, a
Okay.
box, these type of things that after you close out an account, and I'm not saying it's that, but not returning a remote control, not returning a box or something of that nature.
You're right. That's right. That's right.
Could actually be what they consider the thing that you didn't pay, right? Because if you notice it, you pretty much rent those things out. When you don't, they'll put that hefty thing on the bill, right? It'd be like $300 and some dollars for the remote control, which is insane, right? So that's number one. Number two is, let's go back to what you talked about, which is 2016. 2016 to 2024. How many years is that?
From 16
to 2024.
That's what, like was that like 6 years or something?
Said six. Let's do
You
that.
said 6. Is that 6 years?
From
Like,
2016 to 2024. What's the difference between that?
oh, I'm sorry. That's like what, 8 years?
8 years, okay?
Yeah.
No debt can be on your credit profile past 7.
Exactamundo, Richie.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
these are the type of things that, listen, you don't got to get into the big words. I looked at my credit profile. I noticed that I noticed that there's a debt that's on here from 2016 under law. You see what I'm saying? Under federal law, it states that no debt can be in here past 7 years, right? But I looked on here. This is 8 years old, right? So now, once you're able to use that, now you're able to take that and use it the way that you want to use it.
Well, yeah, because I did dispute it. I did dispute it, and then I did dispute that.
And
within my, I think, Experian or Equifax or wherever it was.
What was the thing that you said on your dispute?
I said, oh my God, what did I say? I think that I said that this debt is not mine. I said, I never heard of these people. I believe the company was, I don't know if I could say the name of the company, but I said the name of the company. I said, I've never heard.
Hold on. We can't do this. They was very out loud when they said your name. So the same way way that they said your name, the same way we're gonna say their name. You feel what I'm saying?
You know what the interesting thing about that? Because I always talk about putting you on Front Street. The name of the company is called Frontline. Well, now y'all all out there.
You feel me? They made sure
Frontline is on Front Street.
You got me. So that's the thing that we got to know from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
Right. So pertaining to Frontline, right? You didn't have any contract with them. You didn't do anything with them. Right. So therefore, when you sent that letter in, what was the response back from the letter that you sent?
I recently just did it, so I need to actually check. I got an email saying that it was under investigation.
Okay, well, just keep in contact. Just keep in contact with me because you sent it in already. But Those are the things that you want to do. Is you want to figure out from them if they gave you a debt that is not yours, right? Or if you feel like, hey, you've been wrongfully accused of this debt. Those are the things that we say in the letter. We don't have to make, like, I'm tired of people making this stuff making it long and very complicated.
Drawn out, yeah.
Right? All you got to do is just say exactly what occurred. That's it. You ain't got to make up nothing. You ain't got to be no expert. You ain't got to do none of this. Just say exactly what occurred. I looked at my credit report, saw a debt I was unfamiliar with. I did my investigation on this debt and noticed that I had no relationship with this company at all. So therefore, I'm saying that I need for you guys to delete this debt off of my account. Do not say the word remove, say the word delete. Remove means set aside, delete means completely gone. So that's the words that I want you to use.
2 lines. That's all I put on there was 2 lines. I got to the point. Because I'm like, I don't know who these people are. I mean, like, and no, you're not getting my Social Security. If you can't track it by my name, then my name is very unique. It's not like you're going to find 50 of them out there. So but what I put in the chat, my original question was about these companies or these products that are offered about doing a clean sweep, as in, okay, we gave you we want to give you a clean sweep because we find that you have these 2 or 3 recent lates on your credit. And so when we do that, then we can start your credit profile all over again. My concern is removing your credit age. But my other concern is, yeah, but then you're trying to do some things with your credit. So, and it's going to take a longer time to remove, for the lates to not be that important. So I'm not sure what you can say to that.
Nah, you said it all yourself. You see, look how smart you are. You just said everything yourself. You said it's going to remove the age of those accounts. Number 2 is that what you're doing is not lawfully right. So we got to make sure that that's clear too, right? So anytime that you're doing this, right, you're filing a false police report, right? A police report is with a government agency. Filing a false police report, they have a thing for that, right? That right there, my friend, is called fraud. Fraud is you could put this up right now. 18 USC 1343, 18 USC 1344. These are laws that are combined with saying this is bank fraud, this is wire fraud, now you start to tap into your freedom. Right, you're tapping into your freedom based upon that you're trying to get something wiped away clean off your credit report. These people that are saying these things align with today's today's show. These are scammers. These are people that are actually out here false representing things that they can do, which they actually can't do, because what they're doing is they're putting you in harm's way. And you notice that when the fire gets to blazing hot, you know what happens? They gone, and you cannot find them anymore. But guess who they did find? They did find you. And what they did find with you is they found you inside of a jail cell because what you just did was committed a crime. And in this country, ignorance is no excuse for law. So what you got to do understand now is when it doesn't smell right and it doesn't sound right, that means guess what? It's not right, right? It's easier to say it's not right than it is to try to fight something against that. So anytime somebody tells you that they can clean off your credit report, every single thing that's on your credit report, based upon that you're going to file some type of report from it, right? Now what you enter into is you enter into a whole different sector of things. Now, although it may come off, right, and they can show you the results of it, but what it can also show you the results of is your fingerprints down at precinct 1301 on the south side of town, because they just came and booked you. So make sure that they show you the whole side of the story. You know why I can tell you that? Because I've been there and I've done that. So these are the things that I can actually tell you to prevent you from being where I came.
Well, what you're saying it was my concern, because I said, wait, you're going to try to remove something, because you can't remove it as though, because I know there are people that they'll just file a whole bunch of disputes because you have an X amount of days or that 30-day window, and then you keep hitting them with the disputes. But they said, no, that's not what we're doing. Because I know that for sure is illegal. They said, no, we're just going to do a clean sweep. Remove all of it, like as though you never had, this credit card or that credit card or the other credit, like it's just gone. It's not, we're not trying to dispute anything. We're just going to do a complete clean sweep where you have zero credit. It's never been on your report. It is gone.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, you already know. If it doesn't sound right, it ain't right. It ain't gonna be right. That's just how it's not gonna be. You know what I mean? So sometimes when you're using your smart as you are, right? You can use your prejudgment and things that just not right, don't sound right, and these folks are trying to make a move from it. So you got it. You're gonna hit it in the right direction. Just wait for that letter to come back, and I guess me and you'll be talking later on with it.
Okay. I see Ruby is saying something over here in the chat. Hi, Ruby.
Okay. No,
All right.
that's in the private chat.
Yes, I see. So
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Flame, if there's some way I can get in touch with you, I will. And
okay. Information is right there, flame@flamenewton.com.
I see it. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you, and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's Nabia hang out. If you've got a comment or question that we need to handle a little bit later, let's do that. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So Miss Rachel, let's bring you back. Let's see if you have any other questions. And anybody else that has any questions, come in here.
Okay, thank you. So when the court date occurs, I'm going to take this to trial and let them know the information that you guys provided to me today and request for a full contract with my signature and the person that sued me.
Definitely.
Okay.
And then, like you said, you could reach back to me, and we could definitely contact with each other outside of here as well. Okay.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So this is how I'm gonna do this. I'll make it real simple for you.
Okay.
Send me an email at flame@flamenewton.com. You got me?
Yes.
All right. And so we got you covered.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, Flame. Listen, thank you, Miss Rachel. Thank you for coming into the show. Listen, anybody else that has any questions, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. But Flame, I've got some questions about these folks that say, I'm going to, you've got this credit card debt, and we're going to get rid of this credit card debt for you for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. All right. You're going to pay less than what you owe. How does that work? How can a company like this negotiate with my credit card company so I can pay less than what I owe? How do they do that?
Because that, my friend, that is called a settlement offer. What they would institute is called a settlement.
What?
Right? Is a settlement.
Settlement offer.
Yeah, settlement offer.
Okay.
Right? A settlement offer is usually where they make you pay 60%, 40%, 50%, 70% of what the cost is, right? Of what it is, right? And so what happens is, anytime that you take a settlement, I want you to understand the things that are in jeopardy when you do take a settlement, or if you choose to. One is that you eliminated that relationship with that particular lender. Right. So whoever that lender is, you put that particular relationship in jeopardy. Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is that you got somebody that you let borrow some money. I'm talking about you, whoever you are, whoever that you fit for this conversation. I'm talking to you. You let somebody borrow the money, and let's give the number. Let's give them the amount of money. Let's give it a number, right, for the purpose of this conversation. And let's call it $1,000, right? You gave somebody that you that's a family member or friend. You gave them $1,000, right? $1,000 you gave them, right? I did. In a return for them to pay you back, right? Now, what happens over the course of time is they paid you back $200 and they never paid you again. So you have not received the rest of the $800 that they actually agreed to and said that they was going to pay you. Right? You agreed to pay for that $800 and you never did pay for that $800. Never did. So what happens now is you get to a point that where you're like, man, they've been ducking me, they've been dodging me. Hey, listen, this is what I'm going to do for you. Listen, bro, I understand that you're in a tight bound. You owe me that $800. Listen, man, at this point in time, it's been a year and a half and I ain't got no more out you. So what I'm going to do is say, listen, man, just give me $400 instead of the $800. And man, we'll let bygones be bygones. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So what happens now is you settled for 50% of what the debt was, what the debt was. So now that person that let you borrow $1,000, they actually lost $400 in the deal, right? They lost half of their money on the other end of in the deal. So anytime an event that you get in the bond the next time, you know one person that you cannot call. I said not.
They can't call me.
Hey, you know what I mean? You can't call them. So their thing is saying, hey, listen, I ain't got the 800 by now. At least I got 400, and I just wiped away. I just wiped away that off. I wiped away from the fact that they can't call me again and ask me for some money, right? That's exactly how these lenders are. So if you take a settlement, you have already eliminated that relationship with them. Now, here's the subside of this stuff. Sometimes you guys are using some of these lenders and you say, I don't want that lender. But they have a thing called, Mr. Don, they call them subsidiaries. These are companies that they may own that you may not know that they own, but they still own these companies. So if you don't pay them, now you put yourself in jeopardy with using these other companies because they're still on the backbone to them as well. So hopefully that helped out.
Okay. So Flame, so now what if I don't care? I don't care about losing relationship with these companies. Okay. I like 50 cents on the dollar. I like 25 cents on the dollar. I like settlement. Well, ultimately, what's wrong with settlement? What has to happen before I can settle?
Okay. If listen, let you know this. Once you settle at that point and that money comes in, that is called earned income. Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce earned income to you. Earned income comes with a price tag to your boy. You know who your boy is, right?
Oh, okay.
They call him Mr. Sam, but I like to call him Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. That means that now that you're going to have to be able to pay Uncle Sam too some of this money, because now since it's become earned income, you got to pay taxes on it. Somebody's got to pay taxes on this money. I hope you realize that.
Wait a minute, Flame. Wait a minute, Flame. So you're saying if I get it settled, okay? So now, first of all, if I'm current on the debt, do these settlement companies go into settle that same week? Do they go into settlement conferences that same week?
Oh no, you talking about these guys? They're not going into no conference that same week when it comes to this type of stuff. Not at all.
Really?
And they're posing as that they're doing. They're posing like they're having I got the inside scoop with Mr. Daniel, and I could call him up and I could go sit in front of his office and I go over there all the time. And this is how I settled the debts off, right?
Well, they told me, Flame, to make the payments to them. I'm assuming that they're making the payments for me.
Yeah, they got a payment for you. The payment all you got to do is watch the parking lot. Soon as you make that payment, they car go from a 5 to a 7. You see what I'm saying? You say, Flame, what are you talking about? What do you mean that it goes from a 5 to a 7? You ever seen a 5 Series Beamer? And then have you ever seen a 7 Series?
Yes.
Right. So every time that you make that payment, they keep going up in numbers on the cars that they're driving.
Okay. All right. So here's what I want to finish this part up, because we got another question here from let's see, some Porcina Life. All right. So we've got a question from her. But listen, now, do they have to? What are they doing? Is I'm sending them money, and are they paying? Are they just waiting for a charge off? Are they waiting for 3 months before they even talk to these people? I mean, even the ones that do it.
Man, even if they do it, because half of them don't do it.
Half of them don't do it.
Half of them don't do it. They posing that they are. So anytime that you find these debt settlement companies that they're saying that they're doing stuff, right? What happens now is that you end up closing accounts. So if you guys don't understand about this part of the process, this is a whole nother sector that does a downward spiral to your credit profile. When you start closing accounts, on your credit profile, now you start taking your credit starts to take a hit from it, because what it shows the last outstanding thing that came from that particular part. So that's where I was talking about it from that particular angle. You want to make sure, right, that when you're talking to these debt settlement companies from that particular moment, you want to have what we call a debt management plan, understanding about where these funds are going to be allocated and how we're going to be allocated. How, you want to have a schedule about when this stuff comes out, how these payments are going to be in. And so these things takes with conferences and things of that nature from the people that actually may able to do so, right? Because, just like anything, there's always bad apples in every bunch of people, and there's also some good people. So one of the things that I tell people to do is you want to do your research in about 2 or 3 different categories. One category is what we call a Google search. A Google search would actually, and they would tell you about something with that particular company, right? They will rate them under that particular, what they call them stars, star 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 1 meaning very low, 5 meaning very high, right? Not just the stars that you want to be in it. You want to look at the actual comments underneath the stars which they gave them, right? If they have the same complaint about the same thing, well, by golly, we must have a problem here,
Wow.
right? So then you got the other thing, which is what we call the Better Business Bureau, right? The Better Business Bureau, right? You could get a chance to see if there were anything that came through there, what are they rating with the Better Business Bureau, and the ones that, and you get a chance to see some of the list of the complaints from them as well. And when those complaints came in or when those raving reviews came in, because the Better Business Bureau can also be a structured a console of when things are not done right, just like when it comes to the Google search. Now, what do I mean by this? Listen, y'all guys know my background. I told it from the beginning. And these are how these people are able to fool you. Flame, how are they able to fool you? And let me show you how. They're able to fool you because if you look at the list of comments and suggestions underneath these star ratings, look at the dates when they came in and look at the names of these dates that came in. Now, when you see a whole bunch of star ratings, if they got 200 comments underneath there, right, which gives them a 4.8 star rating, what happens if you look at these comments and they are and 80% of them came in within a 2-day period? Are you catching what I'm putting down?
I think somebody is trying to put the most recent comments of somebody is writing those and they're fraudulent.
Yeah.
They're trying to push the bad comments down.
Trying to push the bad comments down so you can't reach. So you got to keep going. Now here's another place that I tell people to go to all the time.
Yeah,
this is a very little used place that I use for just about everything that I want you guys to take full advantage of. And here it goes, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the very least used places which carries a very high altitude pertaining to information to where you can get better results from different businesses. And ladies and gentlemen, that place is called. We'll be right back after these messages.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
That place is called the State Attorney General Office.
State Attorney General. I have it written down right here. The State Attorney General Office, because the complaints are going to go there.
Yes, exactly right. The complaints will go to the State Attorney General's office. So if you guys don't know your local State Attorney General office, get to know them, especially when it comes to consumer affairs of anything. If you've been treated unfairly or anything of that nature, always contact them because they're a person that fights on your behalf. Always know that.
Wow. So Flame, so we got some other questions here. Number one question is, does this work for school loans? Does this work for school loans?
Pertaining to what?
I don't know. They didn't give us anything. Listen, folks, if you can come into the studio, you can ask your questions directly, and you don't have to, depend on me to decipher what this is. So I'm going to assume that what if they're behind on their school loans? Is there anything they can do to get that removed, or
student loans got so many different programs now. It's insane. One of the things is that when it comes to student loans, one of the things is that you want to actually contact your student loan service provider, right, and ask them about the programs that they actually have. Some of those programs may be consistent of saying, hey, for the next 6 months, we would get you into a program, but in the next 6 months, you have to make on-timely payments. Within exchange of making on-timely payments, they would exchange that for getting those late payments or anything of that nature or derogatory remarks removed off their credit profile. So that is one of the things that they are doing now, and they've been doing that for quite some time when it comes to it. A second thing is that when you can contact your student loan provider, right, they have different programs. One is called deferment, and the other one is called forbearance, right? You can try to get into those programs where it would delay your student loan. But one of the things about when you get into deferment or forbearance, there's one thing that nobody ever talks about, but we will, and that is called the interest will accrue. Again, let me say that one more time, that the interest will accrue. So although that your payment not being made on time, that your interest will be. Now, how I can always tell this when it happens, Mr. Don, is that I look on a credit profile and they have a section on the credit profile. And that section is talking about the original debt, right? That original debt hypothetically might be $20,000 for the original debt. But if I look at their credit profile and it says that they owe $24,000 on their credit profile, that means that they have not made a payment on that account. Or if they did, they only made a minimum amount and the interest was still accruing over that course of that time. But that kept them with online monthly payments. So just with anything in credit, if you follow this rule, when it comes to this particular part, you, regardless of what's going on, you always want to make sure that you are paying your debts on time. Now, granted, a minimum amount due may not significantly cover the interest charges, but it does prevent you getting a late payment, and a late payment can drop your credit score down to as much as 100 and some points. So we want to make sure that we are paying that on time. And if you are getting into a situation where you want to get into a debt consolidation program of things of that nature, which I'm highly against under every circumstance, because that breaks the rule. And the rule again is, number one, you must understand how much money costs, and number two, you never use borrowed money to pay on borrowed money. So I'll say on that.
All right. So listen, on March 10, okay, guess what we're going to be talking about on March 10? That's next week. All right. The very subject that you're talking about now. All right, we're going to put the graphic up as soon as we can get it. Student loan larceny is next Sunday. We're going to be talking about it right here in the P.I.L.L method. So right there, student loan larceny is what we're going to be bringing up next Sunday. Thank you for asking the question. You all want to be here because I'm going to have the latest and the greatest information on student loans that's out there today, and we're going to show you how you can get rid of them. We're going to show you how the new government programs. We're going to show you how you can get your payments reduced. Listen, we're going to talk to you about the changes in student loans next week. So you want to be here 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Central for student loan larceny. Don't miss it. All right, Flame. So we got some other questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Or do you need a drink of water?
No, I'm good.
All right. So it says, okay, wait, what if I get a settlement letter? Okay, what if I get a settlement letter? Okay, number one, a whole bunch of red flags and bells and whistles just went off in my head. Okay. That sounds like a fishing expedition to me, Flame.
Exactly. Let's throw it out there. Let's throw it out there and see if somebody's gonna bite. Because what happens is, this is a way that what they're doing is, this is an advertising and marketing tactic. This is where they're going after people that have extremely high debt, and they're extremely high debt. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to get business. These people are called recruiters. Under the recruiting standard, they're trying to bring in people so their business can make more money off of them. So that's exactly what they're, right? You didn't acquire about this. They acquired to you, because what they're trying to do is solicit their services to you pertaining to it. So that's what they're doing again. Say, give me some.
Okay. All right. So they're just trying to see. Listen, if they answer, listen, it's just one of those emails you just don't click on. Okay.
Yep.
Just don't click on it. All right. So Flame, here's another. So Flame, if the lender did not sell the debt and the main company wants to settle the debt for a lesser amount, should you settle with them? That's the next question.
Hold on. This is different. Let me go over this again.
Okay.
Lender because I only break it down the way I see it.
Okay.
The lender did not sell the debt. So the lender is the original lender. I'd say they did not sell the debt, and the main company wants to settle the debt. Break that down.
I think they mean that the lender and the main company is the same thing, same entity.
Okay, so if the lender did not sell the debt,
Mm-hmm.
and the main company wants to settle the debt for a lesser amount, should you sell with them?
Yeah. If my lender,
Break that down.
I'm behind. I'm behind on the payments with my lender, and my lender contacts me directly.
Got you.
To settle. Should I settle?
No, you're not selling no debt. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. We're not selling in no debt. Because what happens is you could be in a situation where you can just have late payments. Miss Valerie, it's a whole lot missing in that. I wish you could come into the studio if you could do that for us, because it's a lot missing in that. Because if the lender, you don't want to settle the debt. It depends on what the debt is and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of missing components in that particular question. It definitely is. So I'm not the person to go on record and just say something just to say something.
Right.
I don't do that. So if I'm not completely understandable, I'm not.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. See, this is definitely a show, folks, where you want to come into the studio so that you can get all the information you're looking for. Click on the link, copy that link, and go and then make sure you click on that, and then it will take you to the StreamYard studio. Don't go back into YouTube. You want to continue on to StreamYard and come into the studio. You don't have to be on camera. You can just use the audio. But we like to hear from you so we can get your questions straight. All right? So sometimes it's just a little hard to understand. All right? And so let me see here. Oh, Brother AJ says, okay. Brother AJ says he's going to be here next week for student loan larceny. You don't want to miss that. Okay. And then let me see here. She says her son's that she'll have to get his info. Okay, she'll have to get into that. All right. So Flame, like I figured, some people are going to have to get with you a little bit later. We've got your links. We're going to place them back into the chat one more time, just in case people came in late. All right. We're going to put those links back in the chat so they can get to your business card. And you can get to his business card. You can get his email and contact him. And Flame, you're going to take good care of these folks, aren't you?
Man, got to. You know what I mean? So you got to. And sometimes I have a knack for saying a lot of things that they don't want to hear. Right? Okay. It's a lot of stuff that goes on. I have to undo a whole lot of lingo, right? Especially when they come to me with stuff that they previously heard and they believe that it's right. And just because a person has so many followers that they got to be saying the truth of it. And I'm like, oh man, listen, what we got to do is we got to get into the facts and those sort of things. I heard you guys say something one day before and it killed me. The one guy, right? He got a first name Dave, and I just leave it as that.
Mr. Ramsey.
Right. So one of the things is we're talking about paying off debts, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. He's talking about some snowball effect thing that you pay off a debt. You start with your lowest amount, and you pay your lowest amount first to make you feel good. I said, man, we're not in the feel good era. We're trying to save money.
Yes.
Right. So we're not going to pay off the lowest debt. We're going to start off with paying the debt with the highest, with the interest charge first. That's what you pay off.
See, here's what he's talking about, folks. We're talking about interest cost, not interest rate. Interest cost, not interest rate. So he's talking about, so we're going to get into this in just a second here, Flame, because that you talked about that at the top of the show. Consolidating the debt.
Oh, for sure.
Consolidating the debt. For sure. So folks, see, here's what's happening. When you have this debt, and one of the mistakes people make when they have a lot of consumer debt is they want to pay more than the minimum on more than one debt. Don't do that. You've taken all of your money and spreading it out too thin on trying to pay on more than one. Gang up on one, even if it's the wrong one. Get one and focus on that one. Okay. But with the P.I.L.L method, here's with the P.I.L.L method, we're going to focus on how to eliminate the interest from those loans so that you can pay them off faster. You want to give the bank money at a time which makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. So Flame, why don't we want to consolidate debt? And then I'm going to take it a few steps further, but consolidating the debt, that's borrowing money to pay off money. So what you got against that?
For one is that anytime that you start borrowing something to pay off something that you borrowed, right? You enter into a category, right? My granny, she used to always talk about these two people, and she used to talk about them all the time. God bless her soul, Granny. I love for you. Thank you. And she used to talk about these two people. Now, I'm going to tell you about these guys, and maybe you guys know the story a little bit better than me. And she used to always talk about this guy named, hold on, I got to remember his name. Name called Peter. Peter. And then there was another dude she used to always talk about, and his name was Paul and Peter. Peter and Paul. That's what she said. Peter and Paul. And then it used to always go something like, you robbing one to pay the other. Now, I don't know how this works, but it was something like robbing Paul to pay Peter or robbing Peter to pay Paul. I just knew somebody got stuck up during the process. Right? So she used to say, wait a second,
Flame. We got a super chat. People are loving the information. We're loving the information. And the design company, Ruby Design Company, said, great job, loving the energy, and gave a super chat, a token, $4.99. I appreciate. Listen, we applaud that. Thank you so very much. All right. Thank you so much for that. Listen, folks, if you're enjoying the information, you can participate in the super chat as well. Show your appreciation monetarily. And so we thank you for that, for that super chat. So Flame, so go ahead and finish what you're talking about when you brought robbing Peter to pay Paul. Okay.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yes, sir.
Right? So they got a little thing when you rob Peter to pay Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little thing, right? It's in a circle, and in this circle, you put like a hamster on this circle, and he keep going, and keep going, and keep going, and keep going, and keep going. They call it the hamster wheel, right? Just keep going, right? But you're doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And that, my friend, they got another word for that, and that's called insanity.
Wow.
So if you guys didn't get this, what I'm saying is that anytime that you put yourself in a situation, right, where you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, right, and you're taking down debt to pay off other debt, anytime that you take off debt to pay on other debt, now you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, now you're in the hamster wheel, and when you're in the hamster wheel, now you just got insane with it. Now you're insanity because you're doing the same thing, expecting a different result over and over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, it didn't work then. It's not working now. So what we don't do is take borrowed money to pay on borrowed money. We don't do that.
Listen, would you all like to see the numbers on that? If you like to see the numbers on that, Flame, what do they have to do to be able to see the number? I'm going to put the numbers on the screen so that they can see what kind of hamster wheel they're in. What do they have to do to be able to see these numbers today?
Oh, my goodness. Hey, listen, this is what you got to do, man. You got to make sure you talk to Mr. Don, man, and get over there with the P.I.L.L method, because I'm telling you now, when you start to see some of these numbers that you guys are being talked about and that you've been able to do, you're going to understand now about, hey, what is it that I could do to be able to pay down some of this debt, right? Because if I can't use borrowed money to pay on borrowed money, what I have to do is I have to take the borrowed money and use that money to help me make me more money. And when it makes me more money, then I can take the profits off of that money to pay on this debt. Now you understand what I'm saying? So now we get into a whole nother cycle, because now when we doing this, we get ready to flip, we get ready to go, 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 but we're going up. You understand what I'm saying? You're going up instead of you coming down.
Oh, wow. Let me show you some numbers. Let's listen, folks. If you want to see these numbers, I want to know if we've got anybody listening. Okay. How do we know if people are listening? Because I'm getting ready to put the numbers on the screen. How do we know if we have anybody listening or watching that will even see the numbers? Can you put a number 9 in the chat for me in the comment section? Put a number 9 in the comment section. Obviously, listen, Flame, I'm taking a page out of your book. All right. Let's put a number 9. If you want to see what Flame is talking about, how borrowing money to pay back money, consolidating your debt can actually hurt you, and using the P.I.L.L method can actually help you. You want to see that? I'm going to show it to you. Oh, I got some flames. I got some 9s. Okay. All right. Says, listen, they want to listen. I got some more 9s. Listen, they want to see that. They want to see it. Okay. You asked for it. All right. So listen, don't get mad at me because I'm getting ready to show you. And Rachel said, got to know. So we're going to put this on the screen, share the screen. All right. There we go. Here's what I just ran into this week. I just ran into this past week. Okay. Somebody's going to borrow some money to pay off some high interest debt. How many of you have ever heard of that? Refinancing to pay off some high interest debt. Have you heard of that, Flame?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what it does, folks, is that you've got some credit cards out there that maybe you were late on, and now they've jacked it up to the penalty. You got a penalty interest rate of 25, 30, 35%. Your car loan may be 19%. And you're making the payments, but it's draining you. You're making the payments. And they're saying, if you will refinance this into your mortgage, and right now you may have a mortgage at 3 or 4%. But if you refinance it, now you got to take a 7% loan. Okay. But that 7% loan is still less than the 25% loan, the 30% loan, the 35% loan. So you think you're doing better. But what really sells it is that when you refinance, you're going to lower your monthly payments by $500 to $900 a month. That's what they're going to tell you. Somewhere between $500 and $1,000. So you're going to get some breathing room, because now you're not making all of those minimum payments. You're making that one payment on your mortgage. Okay. You're making that one payment on your mortgage. And then, so that now you cut the amount of money that's going out each month by $500 to $1,000. Is that what you all are being told? You know, it sounds familiar, right? So here's what's going on. Let me show you something here. They had this loan paid down to $200,000. Okay. So they borrowed $40,000, okay, to pay off some of this high interest debt. But Don, it says here that they owe $250 now on the new loan. That's right, because now you have to pay closing costs on the new loan of $10,000. So you were down to $200,000. Okay. And now you borrowed $50,000, $10,000 for the closing costs, $40,000 to pay off those high interest bills. And you feel so much better. But Flame, you said now they got to pay that money back.
That's exactly right.
But guess what? When you roll it into your loan, ladies and gentlemen, guess what they do to you? Chances are, if you've been into this loan at least 7 years, that's when they start talking about refinancing and everything. Do you realize that most of the time, 99% of the time, they give you a new 30-year loan?
And start it all over again.
A new 30-year loan. So now you were in a 30-year loan. Now you're in a 37-year loan. Okay. But you feel better because they lowered those payments. Okay. They lowered those payments. Let me show you something about this 7% interest rate, ladies and gentlemen, because 7% ain't 7% right now on a $250,000 loan. Okay. They want $348,000 in interest. Is this number $348,773.60? Is that 7% of 250?
Something ain't right, Mr. Don. Let's go over these numbers. Something ain't right with this. Because so what I do know is, Mr. Don, is that if you told me if I had $100 and something, if I went to the store and something costs $100,
yes,
right, and they told me that, hey man, this is going to be 7% on top of this $100. That means that when I dig in my pocket, I got to give them $107.
That's right, $107.
$107.
Right.
So that also lets me know that if something costs $200, I would give them $214.
That's correct.
Is that correct, Mr.
That's
Don?
correct.
Okay, $14, right?
Yep.
And if something costs $50, and if it was 7%, I would give them $3.50, right?
Exactly, $3.50.
Okay, $3.50. So my question now is that total, that 7 and that 7 is 14, plus that 3, that's 17. That's 17 and a half. Right, but if that's 250,000, wouldn't it be 267,000? I mean, wouldn't it be $17,500? But when I look on here, it says $348,000.
Yes.
No, something's going wrong, man. Tell me.
Here's what's happening, because it's amortized, Flame. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal is not 7%. It's actually 139.5%. 139.5%. Yes, sir. That's exactly what's happening. And it's legal. And it's legal.
So they turn 7% into 139%
all day.
You know, I learned something with you new every single time, over and
all
over
day. So now let's start paying back some of the money. First, the first thing is the closing cost. The closing costs. Okay. Somebody else got another question in here. Boy, I can't wait to get to the questions. You all need to come back in here and come into the studio and start asking these questions, because Flame, you started this. You started this mess talking about don't consolidate the loans. Okay. So here's what we're talking about. So let's pay back the first $10,000. That's what the closing costs on the loan that we rolled into the loan. Okay. Let's pay back the first $10,000. All right. So when you start paying this loan on this mortgage, the first $10,000 you borrowed, you got to pay that back. And guess how much interest you're paying on a $10,000 loan from the get-go? $1,458 every single the first month on the $10,000 part, because you're trying to pay back the first $10,000, right?
Ooh.
Okay, so now you pay $1,400 on that loan. So I need you to take a look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest. Okay, this is where we're going to add up all the principal payments and all the interest payments. So every month, here's how we're paying back that first $10,000. At $200 a month. That's what we're doing. And this is how much interest we're paying each month. So this will add up all the principal payments for 1 year. In the first year on this loan, 12 months, adding up 12 months of principal payments, I pay this loan down by $2,539.56. How much interest have I paid already, Flame? How much interest have I paid on just $2,500?
That's $17,419.
As I'm trying to pay off the 10,000, Flame, I'm trying to pay off the 10,000 that I got into this thing that put me in a better financial position. I got put in a better financial position, but it cost me $17,000 in the first year to be in this better, quote unquote, financial position. Okay. So here's what we're going to take a look at, Flame. I'm going to skip all the way down to the first $10,000. How long does it take to pay off the first $10,000 that I used to roll into this loan? 44 months.
It's 44 months in.
44 months in before I'm able to pay off the $10,000 that I used to get this new loan. to pay off the other debt. How much interest have I paid on the $10,000 part?
$62,000
Yes, sir.
to be put in a better situation.
To be put in a better situation. $62,937. So Flame, so you were talking about some numbers here a minute ago, right? So if I borrow $10 from you and you say pay you back $10, right?
Yep.
And you say pay me $10 interest on the $10 I borrowed, what interest rate is that?
Now you said I ended up paying you $62 on $10 interest that I'm paying on top of this?
No. I'm just talking about $10 now.
Okay.
$10. All right. And you say pay you back the $10 plus another $10. What interest rate is that?
That's at 200% interest. Isn't it?
Oh man, isn't it? So we're talking about 100% interest.
For sure.
For sure. So listen, if I borrow $10,000, Flame, and I pay that back plus $10,000 in interest, isn't that 100% interest?
That's it.
Well, Flame, what if it's $20,000 interest on a $10,000 loan?
Now this is where it gets crazy right now.
It's 200% now, right?
Sure.
Well, Flame, what if it's $30,000? $30,000 interest on a $10,000 loan.
300%.
40,000?
40%. Oh, whoa, 400%?
50,000?
500%?
60,000?
600% interest?
600% interest in the first 44 months just to pay back the $10,000 to get into a better financial situation. And Flame, we're not even talking about, listen, we use this money to pay off some other loans that were 30 and 30%, credit cards and a high interest loan on my car loan and all of that stuff. But let's go down to the 50,000. By the time we pay back the $50,000, Flame, that we rolled into this loan, and you told us don't do it. You told us don't do it. Okay. By the time I get down to I paid back the $50,000. It takes 153 months. 144 months is 12 years. Mm-hmm. 144 months is 12 years. That's 12 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 12 years, 9 months to pay back the money I rolled into this loan. How much money did they make off of me?
They rolled at $200,000, over $200,000.
$200,000 interest to pay back the $50,000 that I used to put myself in a better financial situation. Mm-hmm. And now I'm back to the $200,000 I had when I first started the loan.
Every time.
It's going to take me 12 years to get back to where I was before I refinanced it, and another $200,000 in interest on top of the 50 grand. That's 250 grand. And we're wondering why we're never getting out of debt. This is why Flame said, don't use borrowed money to pay back borrowed money. It's way too expensive, and people who have perfect credit even get trapped into this.
It's going down that, what I call that thing? What's that animal that's sitting in that wheel and keep going?
That hamster that you're talking about.
Keep going.
Whew. Okay. Listen, Miss Rachel came back in off of that one. She couldn't stay gone.
How can you?
Okay. Steve Mack's talking about Peter and Paul.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Miss Rachel, what you got to say to us? Oh, maybe she left. Oh my gosh. Listen, folks. Okay, Teo. Okay. Taye, what do you got for us? It says, "Love it when Flame and Don get together. If there's one thing I always remember, it's refinancing puts the bank in a better situation, not you.
For sure.
Refinancing puts the bank in a better situation, not you. You know, one of the things that you can know it benefits the bank and not you. If the bank is offering it."
Oh Lord.
If the bank is offering it and they say it's you putting you in a better position, don't you believe it. Okay? So if I'm saving money by doing this, Flame, if I'm saving money by doing this, then who would have to be losing money?
Oh, they got to be. What happens is people don't understand that particular part, and you say that all the time, Mr. Don.
Yeah.
Right. If they're telling you that they're saving you money and they're saving you money, what come behind it is you're saying that the banks is somebody's got to be losing money, so the bank is saying, "Oh, we're going to take a hit," right? I used to do it. I said, "What do you mean that the bank is going to take a hit? The bank is never going to take a hit." I was in the store the other day, Mr. Don.
Yes.
Off subject, same topic. You'll catch it in money.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Home Depot, and Home Depot had some refrigerators, right? And they said 50% off sale, right? 50% off for these refrigerators, right? And I was like, "Oh man, that's a great deal." I said, "You do know that when they sold it to you for 50% off, they still doubled their money?"
Wait a minute. Wait, I'm confused, Flame. I'm confused.
I said,
if I get it on sale, how do they double their money?
Because they paid, because it's what they paid for it. They buy it so much in bulk that $200 that refrigerator that costs $1,000. It costs $1,000. They actually paid $200 for that actual refrigerator. They paid $200 for that refrigerator. So when they gave it to you for 50% off, they still made $500. They still made an additional $300 on top of it, what they paid off of it. So they still doubled their money off of this stuff. That's what I'm telling folks. These places lose money.
Flame, we lost your video.
Oh.
We lost your video.
Can you hear my audio? Oh.
I got your audio. We lost your video. Let me bring Miss Rachel in, ask her question, and then maybe you can go out and come back in. Okay.
Cool.
You got your link? Okay, great. Miss Rachel, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just in the audience. I kept getting knocked out, so I came back in.
Oh, you came back in. Did you
I
have
don't want to deter the conversation. But I do have credit questions. But
well, go ahead with your question. Come on.
Okay, but he was on fire though. But okay, so
yeah, he lost his video. He's got to fix it.
Okay, so it will be similar to the conversation. Then I have a question that's not.
Okay.
So the P.I.L.L method that you were mentioning, that's my ultimate goal right now. I'm trying to quickly pay off my mortgage and quickly pay off my car. The example that you've shown with the loan, that's exactly what's happening in my loan. They're only applying like $200 or not even to the principal. Everything is going to the interest or the taxes or the escrow or insurance and stuff like that.
Well, with the P.I.L.L method, we tell you exactly how much to pay and when to pay to save interest. Can I show you something simple? This is not the P.I.L.L method. I'm just going to show you how they're charging you what they're charging you. Would you like to see it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, and then we'll show you what you can do to get out of debt even cheaper. But I need your help on understanding this. Okay. So now we have on the very first payment here, Miss Rachel, how much money? So I need you to take a look at the top, the headings. Principal, we got interest, we got cumulative principal, cumulative interest, and principal balance. You got that?
Yes.
In the very first payment, how much of that money goes to principal, paying down the loan?
That's crazy. $204.93.
And how much goes to interest?
$1,458.33.
Do you think that's too much money for them to make?
That's way too much money. We're paying the banks. It's like we don't even own our home. it's the bank home. So it's like $100,000 loan
Yeah,
to get to 90,000. That really is like a 5 to 10 year period.
exactly. So here's what we're talking about is if we pay this, this is the money that gets subtracted from our loan. So now we're paid down to 249,000. We start out at 250.
That's
Now we're
great.
at 249,795.07. The bank uses this number to tell us how much interest we pay on line 2. So if you ever ask you a question, all you have to do is look to the next line, okay? We don't have to do any math or anything.
Okay.
Because because I see things in pictures and patterns. Okay. So
Okay.
now we're going to do that. And so this will tell us how much interest we pay on the next line. So now our payment on the next line is what? How much goes to principal?
1,400.
No,
Oh,
no,
principal
principal.
$206.12.
And the interest?
$1,457.14.
So every single month we pay a little more principal and a little less interest until all of these principal payments add up to how much we borrowed. Isn't that a great program for the bank?
Wow.
Okay. So the bank uses this. Now I'm going to ask you another question. Have you ever been taught anything about how lending actually works?
No.
No, nobody has. Not your real estate agent, not the person who sold you your mortgage has been taught how this loan actually works. I'm going to teach you in about 5 minutes more than they know, more than all the real estate agents you know, wherever you live.
Okay.
About this, unless they've been watching my videos. And by the way, you want to start watching the P.I.L.L method videos, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So let me show you how this works, and we're going to work together on it.
Okay.
So I'm going to make my first payment in January, and I'm all done. I'm all done with my payment in January, correct?
Yes.
My principal payment in February is how much money?
It's $206.12.
Based on what you know to be true, do I have to wait till February to give the bank $206.12?
No, you could pay it anytime in January.
All right. Well, if I have it, I could pay it in January, just like you said.
Okay.
And guess what? All of this money would go to principal. So I'd be paid down to line 2 in January, wouldn't I? Because they have to subtract the 204, pay the interest, and then I'm going to give them the $206.12. So I'm paid down to here. Once you pay that interest in the first month, they can't charge you interest anymore that month. Do you know that?
Oh, wow. So you're saying to pay it a month in advance?
No, I'm just saying if you give them this money,
Yes.
you're paid down to here. Remember, I'm not explaining my program. I'm just teaching you how they charge money.
Okay.
Okay?
I completely understand.
Okay, so we're going to give them this, so we're paid down to here, correct?
Yes.
So our next mortgage payment for February is on what line of the schedule now?
It's on the line 3.
In line 3. We're going to pay 207 and 1455.94, correct?
Yes.
In February.
Yes.
But we got rid of line 2, not for the entire payment, but for only $206.12. So payment number 1 is now touching payment number 3. Payment number 2 is gone. So what happened to this $1,457.14 on line 2? What happened to
They
that?
can't charge you it.
What? They can't?
They can't, right?
What do you think?
They can't because you paid it, because the interest should be.
Do
Well,
you
never.
see why you have never been taught this in school?
Yeah.
Do you see why your real estate agent doesn't know this?
That's crazy.
Do you see why the person who sold you the mortgage doesn't know this? Because they would tell you by mistake. They would let the information out. So what if we did this? What if we did this, Miss Rachel? I pay my mortgage in January. And since I learned this, what if I said I'm going to give them the 206, the 207, and the 208? Okay?
Okay.
That's a little over $600. Do you know anybody who has $600 in a savings account? Do you know anybody? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Could they take that $600, put it on the mortgage, and knock out this interest payment and this one and this one? And if they did that, they'd be on what line of their schedule now?
Oh my gosh. Would it be line 5 or
Yes,
4?
ma'am.
So, okay, so if we pay our principal, just the
Yes.
principal alone, or are we doing the principal and interest?
Well, here's the thing. Once you pay, it's called prepayment.
Okay.
Once you make a loan payment, any money you give the bank in that same month is called a prepayment.
Oh, wow.
And it makes
Okay.
it impossible for them to charge you interest on that money. I see. Listen, she's feverishly taking notes
I
down.
am so sorry.
But this is going up, or you can watch it again.
Okay. Thank you.
So watch this. Watch this. Here is the amount of money that we're going to pay in the listen, I gotta get Flame back in here. I want to make sure I send him the link to get back in. Because Flame, you got to get back in here, man.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah. So there we go. There
That's
it is.
crazy. I get paid.
Okay.
I get paid on the 15th. I'm
Okay.
doing this.
Now watch this. Remember, this is not the program. The program is much more powerful than this. What I'm showing
Oh,
you.
okay.
Way more powerful.
Wow.
Way.
And this is very powerful.
Okay. So in 1 year, I'm paying down this loan by $2,539.56, correct?
Yes.
And then they want me to pay them $17,000 in interest, correct?
Yes.
So here's my question. Do I have to pay them this $2,500 in 12 monthly installments?
No, because you're paying it. You're paying. You're skipping some interest, so you're only.
So if I don't have to give them that in 12 monthly installments, could I give it to them in one installment? Could I give it to them on line 1?
Just the interest?
This is just the principal. This is the
Okay.
principal. This is the amount that goes to pay down the loan.
And you're saying, can you just give them the 12 months in one payment?
Could I give it to them if I wanted to?
I mean, I'm saying you could, but I don't think, like, my mortgage, they won't allow me to do it. Like, I tried to call them to make like a principal payment, and they allow you to make a payment, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's really being applied to the principal.
Well, see, here's the thing. You can do it. It's
Okay.
written in your mortgage papers.
Okay.
You have the right. It's called the right of prepayment.
Okay.
You have the right to do that. So let me ask you, okay? Let me ask you this. Let's say you got a lottery ticket. Okay? You found a lottery ticket on the ground and it was a winner. And you decided, you had this loan, okay? And you decided, I'm going to write them a check and to pay off the rest of my mortgage. Would they accept that check?
Yes.
So if you can pay it all off, how come you can't pay it off in chunks?
I feel like they try to deter you away from doing so. Like,
well, of course they do.
Okay. Because I keep trying that. Like, and
do you want to know why?
Why? Because they don't want you. They want you to pay the interest.
Okay, 250,000. Do you see my calculator on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Now 250,000. That's where we started, right?
Yes.
This is how much principal we pay in one year?
Yes.
So we're going to subtract that. $2,539.56. Okay, equals 247,460.44. Isn't that the same number that's right here?
Oh, wow. Yes.
So we can pay down to there in 1 month.
Oh my gosh.
And what would happen to all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12?
It would disappear.
Exactly. So are you saying they're trying to discourage you from doing that?
It's like, It's like they're trying. It's like you can feel that they're trying every route to, oh, we don't
Mhm.
we don't provide this option. The only two option we apply is to do it for future payments, or to just apply to something, but it's like the closest thing to pay to the principal. You
Right,
always see that in parentheses. They
right.
don't give you no other option.
Exactly, exactly. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that you know this for sure, okay? How to do this. But you can just see that it costs $17,000 to pay the loan down to right here, doing it their way,
Wow.
paying timely payments, on time payments. Give them this money up front. You're paid down to here in 1 month, and it doesn't cost you $17,000 to move your loan to right here. It only costs you $1,458.33 to do the exact same thing. How do you like those apples?
I love those type of apples. You could be
Okay.
paid off your whole mortgage within a year.
So we pay off we actually average paying off mortgages in 7 to 9 years,
Okay.
and get people
Oh, wow.
completely out of debt, not just the mortgage, but all debt. This is why Flame was talking about don't refinance, don't consolidate. Use a system like this to pay off everything you have in 7 to 9 years. The average family has 13 different debts. I mean, they got a ton of consumer debt. And every time we see that in our office, guess what? We love it. We absolutely love it, because we know what can happen when somebody has a lot of consumer debt, but they're paying their bills on time. They can get out of all of that debt in about 7 years. So why consolidate and pay 600, 700, 800% interest?
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Okay. So here's what we're talking about. Let me put this on the screen for you. Okay. This is John and Rebecca Jones. This is what the program looks like. Okay. So I'm going to reset. I'm going to reset this thing. Okay. Reset the program. Okay. And there we go. Reset the program. All right. So now we're going to take a look at years to pay off. All right. This is 11 years to pay off. All right. They're going to save $137,000 in interest. We know that right off the bat. Here's what we're looking at. Here's what they have. They have in their checking account about $4,000. They got in their savings account, they have a little over $5,000. They have an auto loan. They have a MasterCard. They have a Visa. All right. They owe $7,000 here, $8,000 here. They owe $193,000 on their mortgage. Okay. All right. And so, we don't want this. We don't want this one, because hold on. Let me. I clicked on the wrong one. We want to reset to a different one. Okay. Sorry. Boop. There it is. We want that one. Okay. All right. So now, they have in their accounts, they have $500 in checking, $5,000 in savings. They have a $25,000 auto loan. They owe $2,000 on the Visa. They owe $200,000 on their mortgage at 6%. They already know starting out that they're going to save $179,000 in interest and be paid off on everything in 7.7
Oh,
years.
wow.
And how do they do that? Okay. We're starting out in January, right? Okay. January 1. And we just tell the program how much we're making. John gets paid $950. When you get paid, you just execute that and just tell the program, I got paid, and it disappears from the screen. All right. When you pay your mortgage, it does the same thing. All right. All right. And then you pay your utilities, you get another paycheck here, and then the program says, oh, take money from your checking account and put it in your savings account. And just keep it there, because that's money you don't need for anything else. It's done the math for all your bills for the month. Put $100 there, and you're going to pay minimum on the mortgage, minimum on the Visa, minimum on the auto loan. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But the program says by February 9, when you're putting all that savings away, you're going to have about $2,000 to put on the debt.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Just by doing that savings. All right. And then it says, let's go down there and see what it says. Oh, take money from where?
Savings.
Put it where?
Into your Visa?
And pay it to zero. And how much interest do you save for doing that?
1,000. I can't really see it. Is that
Okay.
648 or
Well, let me make it a little,
848?
bigger. Because I want to hear.
$1,848.
There you go. How about that?
Wow. And that's your P.I.L.L method course?
Right. This is the program. This is our AI system that does it all. So the next time we do, so we're going to pay off everything in January. So we're going to do all of January. All right. And we're going to select that, pay everything in January. We're going to do February, where, look, the program is saying save up money, save up money, save up money. Don't put any extra money on anything in February. Okay. So we're just going to run through, we're just going to do February. Okay. Okay. So we're going to select. All right. And to take care of that, we're going to execute multiples, take care of the whole month of February. All right. So March, April, May. Oh, when we get down to May 10th, what's the program says? Take money from where?
Your savings.
Put it where?
Your first mortgage.
So how hard is it to pay your bills every single month and any money that's left over, put it in the savings account?
Not hard at all.
And then when it hits a certain point, an AI system says, take out this much money exactly to the penny, put it on the mortgage, and save how much in interest?
Wow, 17,000. Oh my gosh, and $74.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So if you want to know more about this, all right, we're getting ready to get out of here. Okay. We're getting ready to get out of here. We're almost at 2 hours. Okay. Yeah. So you want to go to ICE10K.com. I'm going to put it on the screen. ICE, that stands for Interest Cancellation Expert. ICE10K.com.
Okay.
All right. Scroll down underneath ET here until you see Get a Savings and Earnings Report.
Okay.
Click on Get a Savings and Earnings Report, and you can know the month, day, and year you'll be debt free. And how much are we charging for the savings report?
It's free.
Get your free savings report and understand how all of this works. Okay. And just follow the instructions. Flame is back. All right.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Flame, listen, man, we love everything that you were saying today. Folks need to know how to get hold of you again, and we'll put it back into the chat. Okay.
Yeah, it said the flame at flamenewton.com and meetflame.com. I'm doing it too.
All right. And Flame, thank you so much. We want to bring you back. Would you be willing to take us to give us information on how we can go into get our credit straight, go into the bank and be able to, let's say, come out with $150,000 in loans?
Hey, that's it all day long. That's what I specialize in right there, baby.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Would you be willing to come back and do that maybe in 2 weeks?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Sure. All right. So Flame was going to come back, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so very much for being here today. Listen, we're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. All right. The one who paid off his mortgage in a record time using the P.I.L.L method. And he is the number one motivational speaker for in the entire world. But be here next week for student loan larceny. Be here next week. On Wednesday, we're going to be talking about don't die in debt. Don't die in debt. So that's what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday. And on next Friday, we're going to be talking about jumbo loans. Jumbo loans next Friday. How to slash jump, and a jumbo loan is any loan over like $725,000. All right. So if you have a $700,000 loan, if you have $1 million loan, if you have a $2 million mortgage, guess what? They can be paid off in about 9 years too. We're going to be talking about all of that next week. Thank you, everybody. Listen, we got to get out of here. We're going to let you go. And everybody who participated in the show, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. All right. We'll see you on Wednesday, Friday, and next Sunday. See you later.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.